queer content creator who would like to learn more about content creation strategy and branding. Well, a digital creation workshop will be taking place sooner than you think. And to give us more details on the workshop is the Deputy Director for Voices for Choices and Rights Coalition, Tuli Kamati. Tuli, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Nina. Thank you so much for having me.
Lovely having you here. To start with, talk to us about what the rationale is behind this digital content creation workshop.
All right. So as VCRC, a lot of people know us as the organization that's leading the pro-choice conversation in the country with regards to law reform. But because we're an inclusive organization, we have decided to enhance, capacitate, and also help the queer community network because we've seen that there's a gap with regards to how content is created in Namibia, especially when it comes to the community. So we decided to engage specialists in this area so that they can have the opportunity to learn from them so that they can capitalize from their workshop.
So that's the reason why the workshop specifically focuses on the LGBTQIA plus community. Some may think, because that the community advocates for inclusivity, this could be a bit discriminatory.
One can say that, yes, but I believe that as cis heterosexual people, we've dominated quite a lot of spaces. And as an inclusive organization, like I said, the workshop will be available on our website. It will also be live streamed. And soon we will adopt a curriculum so that all people from all spheres of life can, of course, take part in the workshop and have a certificate towards the end. So this is a space where people who are already marginalized can come and feel space and learn in a manner that enhances and speaks to their identities.
Is digital content creation the in thing now?
Digital creation is the in thing. Everybody has Instagram, everybody has Twitter. But unfortunately, we've seen that in Namibia, not a lot of people know how to maximize profits. They don't know how to speak to brands. They don't know how to ensure that people see their content. There's that gap so that we have a few people who are privileged to access these spaces. So now it has to be inclusive and available to all.
Yeah. Talk to us about some of the ways that you can maximize and capitalize on your content.
I think specifically with finding your niche, that's number one. Being original, not trying to copy somebody else because nobody can do what you do, even if the ideas are the same. And obviously, I think speaking from an advocacy space is don't be bigoted for clout or for clicks. And I think just invest in a good brand strategy. That's one of the main points that I want to emphasize. Yeah.
Who are some of the speakers going to be at this workshop?
So we have David Wamambo, who's a brand strategist, and he has worked across all spheres, especially in the corporate spaces. We have Ndilo Ntengwe, who's our executive director, a self-published author and award-winning activist. And we have Mr. Gay Namibia, Lazarus Daniel as well.
All right.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you, you mentioned capitalizing on your content, and there's only a select few Namibians who are able to do that. And is the reason behind that because of high followers? I think a lot of people sort of steer away from getting into content creation because they feel, I don't have any followers. Who's going to watch my stuff? Who's going to notice me? And I think the purpose of creating content, on these digital platforms is to be able to relate and reach other people. So with a small following, should you really be discouraged?
No, definitely not, because I follow a lot of content creators who don't have a lot of followers, because I think if you're authentic, people who will follow you for that. And specifically when it pertains to if you're selling a product and I know that you genuinely use it and you're not just selling it to me because of money, a lot of micro-influencers are in that space where they're capitalizing just because people trust them. I think it's about trust. I think it's about building that connection with your followers and not just having, we've seen brands partner with people who have a lot of followers and those brand partnerships end up failing because number one, nobody relates to them. Some of these accounts have high followers just because of various reasons. Some people even buy followers.
So bots.
so bots basically. But with this workshop, you'll be able to learn how to, as a small content creator, how do you go about creating content that speaks to you and your brand? How do you strategize? How do you speak to brands about what you're worth? Because we know that in Namibia, it's really new for brands to be paying people to promote or to work with them or to partner.
Right.
And so there's a lot of exploitation there, people wanting to be paid, or corporates or companies or brands wanting to pay creators in exposure.
Right.
And nobody can eat exposure, unfortunately. So that's why we're starting the workshop with the LGBTQ plus community, because they are marginalized. And sometimes even if a workshop is held, they might not feel free to attend, because we know that a lot of inclusive language needs to be used when you enter these spaces, so they might feel discriminated against. Yeah.
You did mention that Mr. Gay Namibia will be one of the speakers at the
Yes.
workshop. What will he be focusing on?
He will be focusing on how he has navigated his online presence as Mr. Gay Namibia, because I think our attendees will have a lot to learn, because this is somebody who's a public figure. This is somebody who had to go on stage, answer questions, and now they have to leverage their title to sort of speak to their cause. So that is what they'll be focusing on.
Awesome.
Yes.
What time, when and where? Let's talk logistics.
All right. So the event will be tomorrow at Windhoek Palm Hotel in Windhoek West. It starts at 8:30 for 9, and it will be up until 1 o'clock. Yes.
For somebody who's interested and would like to get a last-minute ticket, who do they contact?
So they can DM us on our social media, VCRC on Instagram, Legalize NA on Twitter, or they can contact us via our email, which is liberalizeabortionnamibia@gmail.com.
Awesome.
All right.
Tuli, thank you so much for being here this evening, and all the best with the event tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much, Nina.
That's it. Tuli Kamati, Director for Voices for Choices and Right Coalition, speaking to us about the content creation workshop that will be taking place. She did mention their social media handles. If you'd like any more information, please do contact them directly.